When you are so emotionally or energetically tapped out that you are crying in a puddle in the shower, saying, I can't do this anymore, please. Somebody, something, let me know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing with my life. That is when you open yourself to where do I need to go? What do I need to do? Instead of trying to push forward with your agenda, that's generally when people will sit back and go, okay, what unfolds in front of me? I don't care anymore. And that's when opportunities begin to open for them. Hey witches, welcome to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy, a magical living podcast for the busy witch. I'm Morgan, eclectic witch of almost 25 years, Avalon priestess, and busy witch. Here we'll talk all things witchy, from current metaphysical happenings to my busy witch tips and tricks, and everything in the in-between. This podcast is my personal journey, filled with my knowledge, opinions, and unique way of looking at the world. Join me as I weave the magical and the mundane in every episode. Hey witches, welcome back to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy. I'm Morgan, and today I am talking about signs a shift is coming. Right now in September, even though after, like when this comes out, it will technically be after the eclipse, the solar eclipse, but September is still an eclipse season month. We have Mabon, we have so even after this comes out, or by the time this one comes out, we will even have had Mabon, which is the autumn equinox. Day and night are of equal length. It's all about balance. But once we get through Mabon, where day and night are of equal length, we start to move into dark season. So a lot of witches do shadow working. We also have the thin veil of Samhain approaching. So there's tons of energetic shifts that are happening right now. And with all of this, I mean, like eclipse season into equinox, into dark season, into thin veil, like, holy shit. Many of us are feeling the transformation in our bones. It's like our spidey senses, our witchy spidey senses are peaked, and we're like, there's something happening. And for a lot of us, it's internal. A lot of us are seeing shifts externally. So that's what I want to talk about today. What an energetic shift is, signs of a shift, and what to do when you feel a shift coming on. Okay. So starting out with the basics, what is an energetic shift? I like to think of energetic shifts as like the space in between versions of yourself. It's essentially a crack in your reality that opens you to something more or something different. That's how I like to view it. Okay. So if you're currently in a certain state and you feel like something happens, or you just kind of feel that you're moving in a different direction, that's what an energetic shift is. Okay. So to me, energetic shifts are portals for transformation. They are invitations for you to explore something that in one way or another gets you closer to your authentic self. So that's what we did for an entire month in the Ink Spirit Coven, was we talked about portals and what portals are and what energetic portals are. But that's essentially what shifts are. These are these energetic invitations for you to step into a version of yourself that is more authentic or more aligned with your true path. Okay. So that's what I like to think of energetic shifts are. Now, energetic shifts can happen definitely around you. And we'll talk about that, like things that can trigger an energetic shift. I'm definitely going to dive into that, but mostly there's things that are going to be happening inside of you. Okay. And I'm going to give you like a big old list of that in this episode as well. Okay. While energetic shifts sound chaotic, and they can be, they are just doorways of clarity that you choose to walk through, thus making them a portal for change. And that was the biggest thing that I taught when we did energetic portals, which I think was in June or July of this year in the Ink Spirit Coven. So if you're a member, you can go back to the lesson archives and watch the lesson, download the Book of Shadows page. If you're new here inkspirit.com. That's my membership group. And again, you will have access to the lesson archives, the Book of Shadow pages, all of that, where I talk about using energetic shifts as portals for transformation. Okay. But you do choose to walk through them. And I will go into a little bit more detail on that in this episode as well. But when it comes to energetic shifts, okay, and if you're watching on YouTube, there's like a sliding scale, okay? If you're not watching, just have my hands up. There's a sliding scale of energetic shifts. You can go all the way from like having a light bulb just come on, like you're watching something or you're listening to something and you're like, oh my God, I never thought of something like that. Oh, wow, that opens up a whole line of new thinking for me. So that can be an energetic shift that happens within you, all the way to the other extreme, which is like the Tower card in tarot. The shit has hit the fan. Your entire world just came crashing down so that something new could be reborn. Like you're now a phoenix, on fire. Your whole world's on fire and you have to rise from the ashes. Okay. Both of those are energetic shifts. Okay. They are both portals for transformation. They are both things where if you choose to use the energy correctly, you can get one step closer to being your authentic self, to living your true purpose in life, to figuring out who you are and what you were sent here to do. Okay. So anything from a light bulb to fucking pure chaos and everything in between. Everything in between. There's so many levels in between the two that like I couldn't even name them all, you know? So shifts are definitely personal to the person. So like your shift or what you deem a shift is going to be different than somebody next to you. And it's based a lot on perception. You know, I think I've said it before, at least on the podcast. You can have two people go through the exact same traumatic event, you know, and they're going to come away from it two completely different people, depending on how they perceived it, how they processed it, based on their past trauma, based on their current life, where they're at. So yeah, you can have two people that go through the exact same event, but the shifts within them are going to be completely different. No one is going to take an event and shift the exact same way another person has. Okay. So yes, there's your sliding scale. Hold on, let me switch my notebook over. Sliding scale, light bulb coming on and you're like, huh. And that can be as easy as a shift can be too, is just having a light bulb come on and you go, oh my gosh, all right, I'm going to be a little bit more mindful of this moving forward. That's it. That's a shift to your whole world coming crashing down and you needing to be reborn as a phoenix, you know? So that's what a shift is, or at least that's how I like to look at a shift. So now I'm going to go into how shifts can be triggered, okay? Shifts can be triggered any number of ways, including, but this is not by any means a comprehensive list, okay? Basically, anything that causes you to think or view the world in a different way, that is an energetic shift within you, okay? So anything that causes that, just there you go, okay? So the first thing is astrological events, okay? So we can have shifts. Eclipse season is a great example of that. Eclipses come in to shake up your world, to facilitate change, okay? Eclipses come in to cause you, they shake things up to cause you to look at something in a different way, or they come in and they shake things up to crumble away structures and things that no longer fit who you are or who you are becoming, okay? So for some people, eclipse seasons are very mild and kind of almost annoying. And for other people, eclipse seasons can be truly transformational. You wake up one morning and you're like, I don't even want to live this life I'm living anymore. I want to move into the woods and become a swamp witch. You know, like eclipse seasons can do both of those things, okay? So eclipses, retrogrades are another really great astronomical or astrological event that cause energetic shifts within you, because retrogrades cause you to think, and they shake things up within that planet's area of domain or expertise. For example, when Pluto goes retrograde, Pluto deals with death, rebirth, secrets, and true transformation. So when Pluto goes retrograde, it kind of amps that up. Okay, so you might be going through more things that are falling to the wayside or dying so that new things can be reborn. Mercury retrograde, we know, shakes up communication, it shakes up travel and everything, but it shakes it up for you to pause and kind of slow down in life, because especially here in America, we're always go, 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 and move forward, move forward. So Mercury retrogrades come in to make you slow down and say, okay, is this the path I really want to be taking? Is this the direction I want to be going? Is this how I want to communicate with other people? Okay, so that retrogrades come in to shake things up as well, and they can lead to energy shifts, 100%. Seasonal turning points can also trigger shifts. So that would be equinoxes, solstices, Sabbats, things like that. So even though by the time this episode comes out, we'll still be within the eclipse, the solar eclipse energy, because I believe the solar eclipse is on the 21st. And then Mabon is on the 22nd this year. So we're still within that energy by the time this episode comes out. So Mabon, equinoxes, all of that have to do with the balance. So things can be awakened. You can be awakened to things like, oh, I don't have balance in this area of my life, or in this area, or I need more balance here, or I need less balance here. I need to tip the scales a little bit more here. So that's what like equinoxes can do. Solstices are when, like winter solstice is when it's the longest night of the year, winter solstice, and then summer solstice is the longest day of the year. So again, with the longest night of the year, where do I need more divine feminine energy? Where do I need to dig down deeper inside of myself? And these are the types of shifts that can happen during a winter solstice. During a summer solstice, where do I need to be more energetic, more motivated in my life? Where do I need to have more divine masculine structures? That's something that summer solstice can help you shift. So seasonal turning points are beautiful portals for change and energetic shifts. Okay. Emotional and energetic fatigue. Okay, this is a huge one. And I just had this beautiful conversation with one of our Ink Spirit members on Circle about most of the time, okay, change does not come. People don't just up and change their life if everything in their life is going beautifully. You know, if you love your job, your kids and your family, or your husband or your wife or your partner are being amazing, and work is good, and you're truly happy and you're truly enjoying life, most people don't take those moments to be like, you know what? I'm going to fuck all kinds of shit up and just have turmoil and change everything. Okay. Change generally comes when you hit rock bottom. Change generally comes when you say, I can't do this anymore. I need something to fucking change. Okay. That is usually when people make huge changes in their life. It's almost at the point where they give up, and that's when they surrender and they stop fighting the path that they've been trying to forge through their life. And they just sit back and let the river guide them. The river of life flows, and they go, you know what? I don't even fucking care what's going to be up ahead. I'm done trying to control. I'm done trying to force things. I am done. Tell me where to go and what to do. That is usually when change occurs. That is usually when the largest transformations for people occur, is when you are so emotionally or energetically tapped out that you are crying in a puddle in the shower, saying, I can't do this anymore. Please, somebody, something, let me know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing with my life. That's when you have just opened yourself. And I just got goosebumps everywhere, probably because I can distinctly remember several moments in my life where I have been sitting in a crying puddle in the floor and said, I can't do this anymore. I can't continue to do this. What do I need to do? I'm open. Tell me what to do. And I'm speaking to my guides, my deities, whoever the fuck will listen, you know? So I just got full body goosebumps. But that is when you open yourself to, where do I need to go? What do I need to do? Instead of trying to push forward with your agenda, that's generally when people will sit back and go, okay, what unfolds in front of me? I don't care anymore. And that's when opportunities begin to open for them. And that's when they see doors close, but they also see other doors open that they would have never seen before, because they were so blinded by their own agenda. Like, I need to do this. I need, I need a successful job and a house, a 2-story house that costs at least $500,000, and I need to be making at least $150,000 a year, and I need 2.5 kids and a dog and a vacation home in the Hamptons. Like, because this is what your parents told you needed to have, So you keep moving forward with that agenda, and then you're not moving, you're not getting anywhere, because it's not your path. It's not what you truly want to be doing. So it's the time when you hit rock bottom and you say, okay, fine, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. Help me out. That the path unfolds, and like, you get fired from your job that you hated to begin with, and you really enjoy crocheting and selling your shit on Etsy. And so that's what you decide you're going to do to, quote unquote, just make money for a little while until you can find a new job. And then your business skyrockets on Etsy. That's what happens. Okay? I love that one. And I still have goosebumps, because I think that's the one that people don't understand, is change usually comes from hitting rock bottom or damn near close to it. Okay? That's when the biggest transformations can occur in life. Shifts can also be triggered by hearing or watching something that deeply resonates with you. Okay? So maybe something I've even said today gave you full body goosebumps, and you're like, you know what? I don't want that vacation home in the fucking Hamptons. I just want to crochet my shit and sell it on Etsy. But when you hear something that makes you come to life, it's a new path to explore, a new interest to explore. Okay. So sometimes it can be triggered by something that, like, oh, that sounds fun and interesting. I'm going to look into that a little bit more. I'm going to look into that school, or I'm going to look into, that career path, or maybe I do want to go back to school. Maybe I want to quit my job and sell my shit on Etsy. Like, it's just whatever makes you feel alive. If you hear something or you see something and it just, you're like, oh, okay, that sounds fun. It just gives you a new path to explore. And that's when little shifts can happen, or big shifts. If you get downloads or messages from your higher self, meditation, deities, these can also facilitate a shift, especially if you are meditating and some answers are given to you, or you're doing divination and you flip over a card or something and you're like, oh my God, I know exactly what that means. And I'm ready. I want to do that. I want to go that path, like go in that direction. So downloads or messages from your higher self, or, through meditation, your deities, anything like that can definitely trigger a shift in your energy. And then, of course, major life events. So this is going to be anything from births, deaths, losses, gains, moving, new beginnings, doors closing, doors opening. Any type of major life event is going to cause an energetic shift in you 100%. Okay. As a former military wife, we got used to moving every 3 to 5 years, so even though the moving process got easier, the packing, the unpacking, the getting the kids enrolled in school, all of that kind of stuff, even though that got easier, shifts still occur within you, because now you're closing doors to friends that you saw every single day. And now you're lucky if you talk to them once a year, and you're having to make new friends. But shifts inside of you occur as well. So energetically or emotionally, you get a little bit more resilient, you get stronger, you get more able to do things like that. So major life events that includes births and deaths, losses, gains, loss of a job, gain of a job, anything like that will definitely cause energetic shifts within you. Okay. So here we go. Signs a shift is coming. Oh, because that's the name of the podcast episode. Signs a shift is coming. All right. So I tried to break it up into like internal and external. And then I realized that I am a believer of the fact that you create your own reality to a certain extent. Okay. Um, I'm not a huge believer of like things don't exist unless I am experiencing them. So, like at this moment, I am in my studio in Tucson, Arizona. And so France doesn't exist because I'm not there. I don't believe that. Okay. And that is believe it or not, that is a line of thinking, is because you can only accept what's right in front of you, what you can perceive that's right in front of you. So therefore, at this moment in time, Paris does not even exist because I'm not perceiving it. I don't believe that. If you do, then that's awesome. It gets a little trippy when you start to try and wrap your head around stuff like that. But I do believe that as internal shifts happen within you, your external reality shifts to either facilitate that or to tell you, hey, you need to go in this direction instead, or you need to go in this direction instead, which it can just be as easy as like you've had this internal shift inside of you, and like now you're like you've had this light bulb. Let's back up. Okay. So you've had this light bulb moment and you're like, oh my God, I am so sick and tired of dealing with this thing here, A. I'm sick and tired of dealing with A's shit. Okay. And I'm just, and then you realize that all of a sudden, A's really annoying the shit out of you. Like this thing keeps popping up, keeps popping up. You've had that internal shift. Like maybe you never realized that that thing was annoying the shit out of you until you had that internal shift, until you had that glass break. If anyone watched How I Met Your Mother, they call it the glass breaking, or the glass shattering, because all of a sudden you're made aware of it now because of the internal shift you had where you're like, I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. Now, as that in your reality, that thing is annoying the shit out of you even more. Okay. And it seems like they're even amping it up, or that situation that you hate is popping up even more and more and more. And you're like, why the fuck can't I get away from this? We can't get away from it because you had an internal shift where you said you weren't going to deal with it anymore. Now your reality is shifting to show you how much you actually deal with it. So do you really not want to deal with it anymore? Or do you just want to say you don't want to deal with it and continue to deal with it? Yeah, that made sense. Okay, that made sense, you guys. I love it. Hopefully that clicked with you all. So that's what I believe is once you make an internal shift or an internal decision, your reality starts to reflect that shift that you have now made. Okay. The opposite is also true as far as positive things. Okay. You're doing your gratitude magic. You're being more mindful. You're giving thanks for everything. And this is the basis behind gratitude. So all of a sudden the next day, you're seeing things all over the place that you're thankful for. Your reality is shifting back to you because now you're open to gratitude, to expressing it, to being like, holy shit, I love this stuff in my life. And now you're seeing more things in your life that you're grateful for. Okay. So I believe that your reality shifts around you to truly open doorways within you. Okay. Once you've started to make that internal shift, your external reality shifts to accommodate. Okay. So that's why for me, when I go through this list, internal and external almost becomes the exact same thing because you'll have that internal shift and then your external reality will reflect it back to you, just like a mirror. Okay. So the first sign a shift is coming, and these are in no particular order, and you don't have to have all of these. You can have none of them and still be going through a shift. Again, this is not a comprehensive list. So the first thing, you're exhausted even if you're sleeping well. That is a huge sign, especially of a big shift, and I will get to that at the end of the list. If you feel creatively numb or disconnected from your craft, then that is an opportunity for you to sit there in it and say, okay, why do I feel numb? Why am I creatively blocked? Why am I disconnected from myself, my spirituality, my craft? I need to shift something. And that's almost a prompt for you to consciously make a shift and not have it happen, but you do it yourself. Because you can Both are true. You can have shifts happen. You can also make shifts happen. Okay, so you can have them happen, you can make them happen. If you feel like burning everything down, that is a huge sign that you are on the verge of a shift. If you're like, I can't fucking do this anymore, I'm just going to set my entire world on fire. I don't recommend setting your entire world on fire, but hey, if that's what you need to do, if you need to burn all the fucking bridges and start over, again, like a swamp witch in the woods, and that's truly what you want to do, then by all means do it. If you have old wounds that constantly keep reopening, that's an invitation to fully explore and heal. If you have old wounds constantly reopening, you are not healed from them. Because if you were truly healed from them, then when the wound goes to open, you're like, oh, that didn't even affect me anymore. And the wound won't open. And that's how you know you've truly healed. Yeah, a great example of this is with exes. You know, if you break up with someone or they break up with you and they move on to another person and you're very pissed off about it, that wound has not healed. But later down the line, someone says, oh, did you know so-and-so is with so-and-so now? They're getting married. And you're like, oh, good for them. You've healed. That wound's not open. So if you do have a wound that keeps opening, it's an invitation for you to clean out the wound, examine it more, and heal from it because you're not truly healed. If you are suddenly hyper aware of patterns that no longer serve you, okay? A great example of this is me with my own personal health journey. You know, I was going through the same motions every day. And then I was like, why? Why am I not losing weight? Why am I not feeling better? Why am I like, and then all of a sudden one day, I don't know what happened. Well, I mean, I set intentions. I wanted to shift to be more aligned with a healthier version of myself. And that was the intention I set. And then one day, I think I was standing at the kitchen counter, just snacking on like something that was sitting there. And I was like, oh my God, this is why I feel like shit. I'm just sitting here like just casually like having a conversation with Colin, eating Doritos out of a bag, just standing at the kitchen counter eating Doritos. And then it was like, oh my God. And then I went to eat dinner. And then this became like, oh my God, I need to get up and walk around. I need to change my, workout routine in the morning. It's like all of a sudden I was hyper aware of patterns that were keeping me set in this spiral of like, I want to get healthier and lose weight, but I don't know why I can't. Cause like I'm working out in the morning and I'm eating healthy meals, but no, I'm standing there at 3 p.m., 4 p.m. in the afternoon, just randomly eating a shit ton of Doritos out of a bag at the kitchen counter. Well, that doesn't help me get closer to my health goals at all. And all of a sudden, this light bulb came on, okay? If you have hot flashes or power surges, you could be in perimenopause or menopause if you're a woman, but if not, it actually, hot flashes and power surges, especially if they're random, they do indicate that a shift is coming or that you are actually up-leveling, upgrading, or shifting. Your energy is shifting. Vivid dreams, especially if you go from like a person that cannot remember their dreams and all of a sudden they're having extremely vivid dreams that they remember, that means that you are attuning more to your higher self. And your intuition, because a lot of times even the little smallest thing in there can give you some direction or some information, gain some clarity from it, and just in the dream, just a little part of a dream. So you start remembering them. They start becoming more vivid, more lively. Like you really feel like the dream is happening, and then you wake up and you're like, oh my God, that was a dream. I really felt like I was doing that thing. That just means that basically all of your energy centers are coming online. Yeah. Synchronicities. So this is where you start to have, somebody will mention something and then it'll pop up on the radio, and then the same thing will happen on the television, and then someone else completely different will bring up the same subject, and you're like, oh, okay, this is weird. Or you just think something, like if you're talking about something and then you get an ad on Facebook, that's your phone listening to you. Okay. But if you just think it and then the ad shows up on Facebook, I don't think Meta has that technology yet to tap into your brain. They don't. but I don't know. And if y'all, I know that for the podcast listeners, you're like, there was a lot of pausing there. There was a lot of funny facial expressions on the YouTube because, I'm also I don't know if Meta, quote unquote, has that technology. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, if you just think something and then all of a sudden, your social media shifts to reflect that, again, that's your reality. That is your external shifting to validate your internal shift. Okay. So you could just be thinking about, you know what? I think I might want to go to Paris, but you don't utter a word of it to anyone. You don't do any internet searches. You don't do any of this. And all of a sudden French shit starts to show up in your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed or your TikTok feed. Then you'll be like, oh my gosh, that is your reality shifting, your external shifting to facilitate your internal shift. Okay. Interests come out of nowhere. So this is like, something piques your interest and all of a sudden you're down a rabbit hole that you never thought you would be down. Those are indicative of, internal shifts happening. And then your intuitive hits are on point. Okay. Something pops up and you're like, oh, I wonder if this is going to happen. And then bam, it happens. And you're like, oh shit. All right, that was kind of crazy. Or you dream something and then something in the dream happens. Okay. All of a sudden you notice that your intuitive hits are on point. Again, that is just all of your energy centers coming online. Okay. So I mentioned a big shift or upgrade sickness. If you've really been doing the work, okay, so let's say you've been diving into healing your wounds, you've been diving into shadow work, and you wake up one morning and God, you slept for 9 hours, but you sure don't feel like it. Okay. You're clammy, you're hot, you don't really have a fever, but man, you feel like you've got the flu, but you don't have a fever. You haven't been around anybody that had the flu. You're just tired, you're achy, you're clammy. And this is what a lot of us call upgrade sickness. Okay. It can be one of two things. It is you're in the middle of a shift and your current self is trying to make you sick, is trying to hold you back from this leap, this energetic shift happening. So they're making you sick so that you don't move forward. Okay. It could also be that time in between shifts, where it's just, you've been doing a lot of work, a lot of energetic work. And yes, you can get energetic sickness. Okay. Especially if you've been throwing yourself into shadow working, healing wounds, things like that. So I always just go with it. Open yourself. If you can take a day off of work, if you can lay in bed and watch your favorite comfort movies, eat comfort food, treat it like a sickness. But if the next day you feel completely fine, you may have just had upgrade sickness for a day. And the more that you almost open yourself to it or lean into it, the quicker you'll get through it. But if you allow the shift to happen, if you even acknowledge it, which we're going to go into in a second, that's where you acknowledge it like, oh shit, I must have upgrade sickness. Your body goes, oh, that's what this is. And then it almost opens to allow the energetic shift to occur. Right. Flipping over last page. What to do if you feel the shift. Okay. The first thing is acknowledge it. That is the first thing. Don't bypass it. Don't try to shove it down. Don't just keep moving forward with your foot on the gas pedal. Take a step back, pause. Okay. Pause and acknowledge it. Like, oh my God, I think I'm going through a shift right now. This is pretty awesome. The bringing it up and bringing awareness to it helps you attune to that new level quicker. Okay. Number 2, gain clarity. So you can journal, meditate, dream work, divination, see what the next steps are for you. You ask, am I going through an energetic shift? Is this I believe energetic shifts always bring you in alignment to closer to your authentic self. So even a question, I don't even ask my guides a question like, oh, is this for my highest good? I trust that it is. But when I'm going through an energetic shift, even if I have I wake up one morning feeling like shit, I'll sit in meditation for a few minutes and say, okay, am I getting physically sick? Or is this, an energetic shift? And I see what clarity comes, what answers come. And then I'm like, okay, if it is an energetic shift, then how can I make this easier on myself? What steps do I need to take next? And for me, generally speaking, they're always like journal. It's time to journal. And so I just open up my journal and I just start brain dumping on it. And, with no real topic in mind, eventually something usually comes of it. Number 3, open yourself and create space for the shift. The more you open to receiving the shift, the easier it is. This can be a simple mindset shift. Like I said, when I had the clarity over my health journey and I was sitting there eating Doritos, my mindset just shifted. And I was like, okay, from this point forward, I'm going to be more mindfully aware of of the things that I'm doing that don't facilitate my health journey. And that's all it took for me to all of a sudden realize when I wasn't drinking enough water, when I was grabbing for the sweets, when I was trying to get a bowl of spaghetti that was the size of my upper torso, like things that didn't facilitate my health journey. It was just a mindset shift that happened. But you open yourself and you make room for that new shift. So it can be a mindset shift. It can be clearing out your home or yourself, just doing a really nice cleansing bath, cleansing your space, a new routine that supports this new version of yourself. So I'll use the health journey one, because if a lot of you are at this point are like, I don't know what an energetic shift is. It's when you lie in between, and I know I said this at the beginning, but you're basically at a fork in the road, and you can continue to be the version of you or whatever it is that you currently are, or you can be a new version. Okay. My health journey is a beautiful example of this. I was at a fork in the road and I'm like, okay, I can continue to do the exact same workouts that I've been doing that I don't see any change in my body with, and eating the same way, and not getting steps in and doing not really hydrating and everything. And I understand that I will just continue to go down this path. Or now that things are becoming clear to me, I can make the choice to go down this new path. And that is going to be this is going to be my new routine for the day that facilitates this healthier version of myself that I want to be. And these are the foods I'm going to eat. And I'm going to cut down snacking and instead replace it with fruit. Or, I'm going to make sure I'm going to set a hydration reminder on my phone for every hour. I'm going to create a new routine that facilitates this new version. And bam, that was a shift. That right there is a shift. You having the mindset and setting a new routine and deciding I'm going to be this new healthier version of myself. And then you live that version. You may not get there. You may not be there. And this is not fake it till you make it, because I made the decision that this is what I'm going to do. So I'm doing it. I'm creating the routine. I'm eating the way that this person eats. I'm hydrating the way that this person, I'm exercising the way that this new version of me wants. And that right there is an energetic shift. Okay. You can even, moving, like big things, quitting, starting a new job, a divorce. I mean, these are all things where you open yourself and you create space for this new version of yourself. Okay. Number 4, release fear. Change is scary, but it's all part of life. So if you can view the unknown with curiosity and excitement, if you can, I understand that not a lot of events you can be excited about happening. But if you can view it with curiosity, like, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen in this new path, but I'm here for it. Let's do it. That can help the shift go smoothly. And then number 5, trust the process. This is where I do want to make very clear one of my beliefs on this subject. Okay. I am not the person who says that everything happens for you, not to you. Okay. I am not that person, because I believe that shit happens to you. Bad shit can happen to good people. Shit can happen to you. Okay. Shit that you do not want. Shit that you did not see coming, that you would have never asked for. Okay. Shit can happen to you. I first want to make that very clear. That is a belief of mine. Shit can happen to you. Okay. It's what you do after the shit happens to you. And I don't mean immediately after. I don't expect you to get into a horrific car accident and immediately be like, this happened for me. Oh my God. No, you need to process. This is up to you as a human being. How long it takes you to process, to heal, to grieve. If it's the loss of someone close to you, shit happens to you, and then you process it and you apply the appropriate emotions, you grieve, but at some point you have a choice to make. You can continue to heal or grieve or let this event affect you in a negative way, or you can take back your power for yourself and you can move forward in a way that benefits you. And this is where I do believe that things happen for you. Yes. So that's what I'm going to say is, can things happen to you? Absolutely. Shit happens. Okay. And you need to take as much time. And there's no chart. You can't look at it and be like, okay, I had 2 dogs die last year. There's no chart that tells me both of my dogs died. Oh, that's approximately 3.75 months of grieving, There's no chart. And it's still like, they visited me in a dream this week. It's the first time I've seen either of them. And Jon Snow's been gone for 1.5 years, and Arya's been gone for 1 year now. And they visited me in a dream this week, and that's how I know that there's some shifts happening, But there's no chart that tells you, okay, you have X amount of time to heal, grieve, move on with your life, okay? So shit can happen to you, and you take the amount of time it takes for you to get through it. Then at some point, when it's up to you, you have a choice to make. You have a fork in the road. You can continue to heal, grieve, not move on with your life, or you can decide to turn it into strength and move forward. Okay. And that's the point when you start to understand why this happened. Maybe it made you a stronger person. Maybe it made you want to become an advocate for a very important cause out there. Maybe it made you divorce, move to a different city, change your name and start over, like that's the point when things happen for you, or you start to understand why things happened. Okay. And you start to turn that pain into power, or you start to transform, you start to shift because you're like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. I need something new. And that's when you decide to shift. Okay. So you have to trust the process. At some point, you have to trust the process and understand that everything is a cycle. Everything is always moving. And there is a bigger picture behind it. Somewhere in there, there's a bigger picture. Okay. And that's one. I think the more that you go through things, the more that you understand trusting the process. And it does, especially over time, you start to look back and you're like, okay, that one time I hit rock bottom. Well, I ended up doing this because of it. So now I know why that happened. And then there was this time that this big fucking event happened. And now I see now that put me on this path in this direction. And so you start to look back and you understand, excuse me, that why things happened and how you grew from them and how you changed and how you shifted. And so the next time that something big comes up, you're like, all right, I don't know why the fuck this happened right now, but I will in the future. So I just trust it and I'm just going to go with it. Okay. So in conclusion, closing, this is a long episode today. I love talking about shit like this. Your energy, your power, your magic is always shifting. You grow. Yeah, I can't read my own handwriting. You grow as you move forward in life. And that's beautiful. The shift may be messy. Okay. No one ever said that shifting is going to be this beautiful. You're not going to actually think about the butterfly. Okay. It's a little caterpillar, it goes into its cocoon. And what happens? Does it just come out a beautiful butterfly? It doesn't. it turns into mush, you guys. It turns into messy, goopy, nasty shit. Okay. So if you're in the shit, if you're in the goo right now, you're in a shift. I mean, that's a thing. If nothing is going right for you, then honor it as a, okay, you know what? I acknowledge it. I must be going through a fucking hell of a shift right now. And maybe just acknowledging it will open you up to, okay, where do I need to go? What path is forward? Because right now everything is shit. Everything is mushy goo. Okay? So I was getting ready to say nothing is as beautiful as a butterfly, but look, it's almost exactly like a butterfly sometimes. Okay? Sometimes it gets messy as shit in the middle before you can emerge as a beautiful butterfly. But the process itself is beautiful. Okay? Once you get through it and you look back, you're like, how did I get through that? Oh my God, I am so much fucking stronger after having gone through that. And those are the big transformations. Those are the big energy shifts. Sometimes it's little, like I said, a little light bulb can come on and all of a sudden you're just a little bit more aware of things. You know, that's a shift too. But you need to trust your instincts and yourself throughout the entire process. All right. So for my bonus Patreon content this week, I'm gonna get into the current energies and I'm gonna get a little personal. I'm gonna tell the paid Patreon members a little bit of the shifts that I'm going through at the moment and how I'm dealing with them, what they look like, all of that. So you can head to patreon.com/inkedgoddesscreations. And just the $5 tier gets you access to the bonus content for every podcast, but it also gets you a shout out. So I want to thank Shannon for being a new paid Patreon member. There are 3 tiers. The bottom one is the podcast tier. The middle tier gets you weekly energetic tarot readings along with the podcast content. And then the top tier gets you sporadic. It is sporadic, I know. Sometimes I just dump on them like 2 to 3 Book of Shadow pages, and then I kind of disappear for a couple of weeks. But the top tier gets you Book of Shadow pages plus the weekly reading plus the podcast. So yeah, patreon.com/inkedgoddesscreations. If you were super interested in what I was talking about the portals of transformation, that lesson, you can join the Inked Spirit Coven. That's my online coven. You get access to 4.5 years. Actually, I think it's 5 years now. Yeah, 5 years of content. In the lesson archives, there's like seasonal Sabbath rituals in there, and it's on the Circle app. So that's where our community is. We're always talking, sharing stuff with one another. There's daily discussion questions. So if that sounds good to you, you can head to inkedspirit.com, sign up there. I want to thank you all for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can watch this on YouTube, but you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. But yeah, if you like, share, subscribe, comment. I love to hear your opinions and your thoughts on each episode. I do, answer them, or I do reply back. But it just helps the algorithm spit the podcast out to new, magically curious people just like you. But I want to thank you all for being here and listening, giving me a platform to share what I've learned in the last 25 years of being a witch. And I will see you all next week. Bye.